When will business people see that getting involved with Trump is the kiss of financial ruin? We have examples with Giuliani, with the pillow guy, what's his name, Mike Lindell, and so many others probably that go back to when he was first in business, in the real estate business. Then now we have the muskrat who has lost billions of dollars because, well, he's just so unlikable, and because of him and his boys ruining the government with all of their layoffs. So now this regime is into some kind of damage control. They're walking back stuff like tariffs, this and that. I think the thing that tore it with these two babies is that he saw that the tariffs, on top of everything else, they were ruining Tesla. So he publicly said, "Is this very wise?" But of course, I go with my president. Blah blah blah. So in this edition of Tarot for Our Times, I want to I pose the question: is the muskrat the canary in this regime's coal mine? So for those of you who are not from coal country like I am, they probably still do it, but although I think the animal rights people would frown at this, but it's an old coal miners thing, is that when they're digging a new tunnel and they need to find out if there's toxic gases, what they would do is they would put the canary in a cage, lower the canary way down into the shaft, and bring the canary back up. And then if the canary died, then they knew that the gases were toxic, and they needed to take precautions. So this is a very useful term because it's a warning. It's a warning. So the question is that the hermit asks, and in my thumbnail you can see that we have the muskrat as the canary. That is he a sign that this administration is failing? And I think tomorrow, they're talking about the first 100 days. So I believe tomorrow, or maybe by the time this is published, it'll be today that it is the 100 marks the 100 days, and it feels like 10 years really. So we want to see if this falling out and exit, or the pull, I wouldn't say like the pulling back of the muskrat, is a warning that this administration is in danger. So is this the early signs of a fall? And also, I want to see if there could be a 300-pound canary to follow. And is it all going to finally catch up to him? And since the muskrat was such a big part of the policy with executive orders and not, being in contempt of courts and all this sort of thing, is kind of a foreshadowing of what's going to happen. So we have here with the hermit. Hermit is the wise person shining the light into the night. So is there kind of a greater wisdom going along with this, saying, oh, this is a sign of things to come? He's the canary in the coal mine, and he's backing off. And from what I've heard with the boys, is that, and I've said this before, it's pretty much defanged them. And I think that there are going to be bigger bullies coming in that are either going to be not letting them in, or they will have phony baloney files. made to them, but there's damage being done because there's been talk that a lot of this stuff has gone to the Russians. So I first want to see if what's going on with him, the early signs of the fall of this whole thing. And many of us have said, this is not going to last. He's not going to be in office for the 4 years. But it's hard to tell. I think it's less than 2. I had it at 2, 2.5. I think it's less than that. A lot of people agree with me. So let us see if what's going on here with the muskrat. So I will lower this. So in the first thing is this early signs of a fall. And I will be using those new decks like the before and the after when I feel. Okay, so, we have the Queen of Cups in reverse. This is the female energy that's very, very needy, emotionally needy, and very manipulative. I think this is the mother of the titty baby, Page of Cups reversed. Very manipulative, very needy, and I think that he and Trump were kind of like soulmates, because that's sort of like their basic makeup is being, and it's mother, if a guy gets this, it's mother deprived. So I want to see, I'm going to do this slightly different because I love my new decks. Okay, so in the before tarot, what was leading up to this? So, okay. We have the 8 of Wands getting ready to go. They haven't been launched like they were, but they're really aimed at the target. But the question is it going to hit the target? And this also talks of the plans that they made that haven't exactly worked out. They just haven't been feeling the love with that. So in using the regular tarot, we're going to see the energy behind all of this is, the 3 of Wands. Yes, the plans, looking out to the future, how this was all going to be done in 3 hours after he took office. This is also looking to far away places. So this is whole thing of the kind of like the big car in the coal mine could be Russia, looking over to see what favors Russia could do. So it is, and it's wands, wands, fire, like let's see what happens. So this is and they see that maybe that Russia may be their future. God, what a bunch of sickos. Okay, so underlying all of this in we have here is the Knight of Swords in reverse. I mean, he does deliver the message with lightning speed. I was just thinking upright, this could be like the Paul Revere card that was the British are coming, but here we have is very foolish communication, too fast, just way, way too fast. So we have this, and this has been the problem from the beginning, which is underlying all of this. And right here, the 4 of Swords in reverse. Upright, it's kind of about taking just a little bit of a breather, depending on the spread. In reverse, that's being really kind of very sick and very ill, and but not being really aware of it until it's too late. So we're dealing with a couple of sickos here, and mentally, physically. I mean, all of that ketamine that he's been doing isn't exactly a boon to his physical health. Okay. And now they just don't know what to do. They do not know what to do. And this has been the whole thing of the reason of this falling apart is that they just went in and, and this is the night of swords. They just went in and slashed and burned into firing people and then having to hire them because of, safety and all this sort of thing. Kennedy's done it too, but we'll deal with him in a later reading. So as a result of all of this and the sickness that it has produced, they don't know what to do. They don't know what to do. So I think Trump has kind of put an arm's length difference. The muskrat he can escape into thinking he's a genius running his businesses and kind of back off and leave the Doge boys twisting in the wind. In a previous reading, it's like whatever happens, happens. He's looking out. He's looking out for the muskrat. So, not a good foundation. It's like, who is it that I think Glenn Kirshner said? The coup that couldn't shoot straight. And I was funny because I was thinking of that old Jimmy Breslin book, The Gang That Couldn't Shoot Straight, about these mafia screw-ups. They were just so it was a hilarious book, but they were just so inefficient. And I was thinking, that's what this reminds me of. And then Glenn Kirshner, with the perfect thing, the coup that couldn't shoot straight. Okay, so then in opposition, it's the sun, it's the truth coming out. I know that dictators try to suppress the media, and the media has let us down. But it's really like trying to herd cats. Years ago, before we had the internet, during World War II, when Hitler and Mussolini and all those douchebags shut down the free press and kicked out foreign journalists and all this kind of stuff, people were using shortwave radios of Anne Frank and her family and this crude little set, listen to the BBC, which was forbidden, but there's always a way. And then after, in the Cold War, we had Radio Free Europe. Now we have the internet and the alternative channels, and even if they tried to shut it down, there's you're going to get the neighbor's kid to break through the firewall. It's just like you just cannot stop the truth from coming out. And if the legacy media isn't going to do it, people are going to YouTube. I feel like I'm one of these young kids that I don't watch any of that cable stuff anymore. I'm sort of like a Gen Z. Let's see what's on YouTube today, and that's how I follow the news. So we've got that in opposition of this, and that may be I think that whole thing, and then he knows he's getting the bad publicity, and then Trump knows he's getting the bad publicity. So I would say that now get this other. So I want to follow this up as we look at the base as the beginning of the card jumped out. The beginning of oops, not that one, the wrong one. Beginning of the aftermath of this sort of thing. Because this tells the tale. Okay, this one. The Emperor in reverse, losing power. This is the aftermath. They didn't have to do too much with this. This is the aftermath. And this is interesting because this is Aries energy. And things are falling apart from the beginning. But they said March which is going to be god awful. March beginning, and it was. So we have the emperor like really taking a major turn for the worst in March, April, beginning of April, which is Aries season. And and so that's when it started to unravel. And as the sun moved into Taurus, that's when the muskrat decided, well, time for me to go back to the power of my business. So we've got that as the truth came out. So, okay, so in the land of the conscious thoughts over this, okay. So the muskrat saw that his business was going nowhere. Swords in reverse. He could not think of a solution except stepping back. Of course, he wants to look at that way instead of like no one within a mile of Pennsylvania Avenue 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue could stand him. So, of course, he had to tend to his, but that was a great excuse for him to leave. But it's not like he's going on to something better. He's just going on, and that'll probably be a big disaster. I think that Tesla thing, and they're still having demonstrations, keep them peaceful. They're still, I think the signs and the chanting and all that, that's one thing. So subconscious thoughts behind this whole thing is the hanging man. It's like they really don't see anything from a different perspective until they have to. So this is kind of like taking a little pause and trying to see what they could do for damage control. So we got that. Subconsciously, the underlying drive of this whole Tesla engine. So in the present, the past. Sorry about the past. Okay, so in the, so this was, I think I'll do a before. So in the past, the card that jumped out was, and this, the Six of Wands. So this in the before, this is kind of like the planning for victory. He hasn't mounted up his horse. Let's see. You can hardly see they don't have the big crowds in the background. So this is like, we're all getting ready for victory. They're going to love us. We're going to win. So those are the two pretty much with their heads together. We're going to get on that horse and we're going to win. Totally delusional. Okay. So in the present, we have, oh boy, perfect. Perfect to follow this one. Illusions and delusions, and trying to throw up all kinds of smoke screens. So this is something, these two have so much in common, and this is why he did very well could be the canary in the coal mine. It's like Trump saying that the Supreme Court ruled 9-1 in his favor, which even the most hardcore right of Attila the Hun person knows that's not what happened. But this is the kind of stuff they believe, just like the muskrat thought he was saving money, and just by destroying the government, he was doing something wonderful. So are we starting to see this could be early signs of the fall, because they live in both of them in fantasy land. I think the parallels are quite stunning. So in the immediate future, we have Temperance. And see, with the walking back of things, they're hoping to find the balance. Boy, it looks like she's struggling. She's okay. She's got the fire, she's got the water, the elements of fire and water in those cups, which it's very volatile. I mean, she is keeping a balance of it. So I believe that there may be kind of an agreement, like step back for now. I think Trump is probably, oh, just step back for now. As soon as you get your business straightened up, you can come back, which he doesn't mean in the slightest bit. And again, with this following this, okay, so they're trying to find the balance. So in the aftermath, the future of what is to come, we have further out the Page of Wands. Do you know what? This guy does not look happy. Pages are sort of like new beginnings and very optimistic. He's walking away from something. What is that in the background? There's a figure in... Oh! Breaking up. Let's see. We'll get this really close. Yeah! Every time I look at these cards, I look at something new. He's leaving his woman there. Very disappointed. He's kind of dragging that wand like I tried to... Yeah, we were going to set the world on fire. Now I'm going to go and set another fire someplace. So this is what it's looking like in the future. So I would say that baby president may want to see that what's happening to him, like that woman, she's just not into him. Come on, she's not into him. He's leaving disappointed, but he's not putting out the fire because he's just going to light it somewhere else. So that's kind of where he's at. But he doesn't quite know where he's going because that business is toast. I mean, that's just like trying to resuscitate a corpse. The market went back up today from being in the basement, but I don't think it applies to him. So that's the few. That's very... That could be early signs of this. Not he with his leaving, with that, the president certainly did not get any new love fest going with that appalling visit to the Vatican. People are not into them anymore. This is the whole thing. This is like he'll never look at the parallels, of course. So, in the hopes and fears, well, we were hoping that all the executive orders and the Doge purges and this and that were going to bear some wonderful fruit, but no. So the muskrat's definitely walking away from that, and the Doge boys can go hang as far as he goes. And this is also FOTUS. He's like trying to walk back the tariff talk and all that sort of thing. But the problem is the damage has been done. And we've got empty ships in ports, empty Chinese ships. And it was funny because I was thinking about, I knew some longshoremen when I lived in Seattle. You couldn't help but to know that longshoremen when you lived in Seattle. I'm kind of thinking of those guys, and I know the Union Hall because I used to go to AA meetings at the Union Hall down by the docks, and I'm just thinking of those guys sitting at the Union Hall, waiting to be called out to unload. They don't have much to unload, so I'm looking at this as like how this affects real people, like longshoremen up, and they, and there was a big fight to keep them, from, to stop the strike and all that. So now they're all sitting all up and down the both coasts, waiting for some work. So their future is really, really uncertain, very uncertain. So let's see, could there be a 300-pound canary? Well, they were already getting hints of this. And will it finally catch up to him? So let's see what the old cards have to say about that. Is this things to come? The things to come. Okay. So we got to shuffle these guys up. Okay. So let's see. Could there be a 300-pound canary to follow, and will it finally catch up? Or will it finally catch up to him? So we will be concentrating on him. I might make the reading a little bit trimmed down. Let's see if this is going to finally catch up to him. Yeah, I do see this as he won't do, because no one can tell him anything. And I'm really seeing this as, this is a big warning, because that whole downfall with Tesla and all that kind of thing, that's got to be a warning. First of all, it's like how not to run a business, and then getting involved in politics when you're so hated that, I mean, the Trump brand is not that wonderful to begin with. I mean, the people out in MAGA-land, they're not going to be going to his golf clubs. I mean, he's got his billionaire oligarchs that do that, but I think, like the ones that really, so we're going to look and see if his oligarchs are like they've been abandoning the muskrat, if they're going to be abandoning FOTUS. That should be real interesting to see. So we will get these cards going, and let's see what happens. So as the it's not like the muskrat's just running back into his little muskrat hole. All of a sudden he's just kind of oozing out. He's just like oozing on out of the White House. I don't think he's living there, so it's kind of, he's just oozing out. That's the only way I can think of putting this. Okay, so let us see where, in light of this, let's see where FOTUS is right now. So right now, I mean, because the parallels are pretty glaring. I do believe he is the... Okay. So, oh! This is weird. I really did shuffle these. Now we have the Queen of Cups upright. Okay. The thing they have in common is, they always talk about the Trump's daddy issues, but he really did have some mommy issues too, which is why I don't think he ever grew up. So they're sharing this whole, their view of women, it's like they're either saints or they're whores, that kind of thing. Probably idealizing the hell out of their mothers, and not only looking at that for the love and the nurturing, but the whole world has got to love them. So this is the idealized woman. So let's see in the before, what led up to that? Getting a bit Freudian here. Okay, so we have got justice. Justice and the court systems. Okay. So he's just getting situated here. Oh, he doesn't hold the sword. Okay. Hasn't taken hold of the sword of truth yet. Kind of the truth is something that you can see it's lying down there. Something that it's not too big of a thing with either of them. He's trying to get the scales balanced, maybe looking at the dove of peace, whatever. And it's just like avoiding the truth. I mean, if all else fails is to lie, maybe they got that from their mothers. Who knows? Who knows? So, and that's the whole thing of, that's the whole thing with the justice system. That's maybe how Felonious Skunk sees the justice system, is that, it's like the news, fake justice, fake trials, this and that, and the paranoia, this sort of thing. And after that, he not only needed, certainly not getting it from his wife, He needs love of the country. So that is, he needs the country to kind of be his mommy, and they are disappointing. So let's see, the energy of that is, well, when all else fails, just walk away. That's the Eight of Cups in reverse, but that's not leaving to go on to a better thing necessarily. That's just running away from all the bad feelings of the reverse cups, all of the dysfunction, the alcoholism, all that's dysfunctionality stuff. So we've got that going there. So I don't think we need to see the underlying things. That's pretty self-explanatory. So we have got the opposing judgment. Always afraid, doing god-awful things, but yet expecting the people to judge them well. And they're not. They're both absolutely disgust. I mean, granted, the felon Fotis he's got his base, but they're peeling off. I don't think they're as big. If election were held today, yada yada yada. So justice in reverse is the fear of being judged badly, but yet they don't know how to do things compassionately to be judged well, and they think that maybe by being abusive and their idea of strong, we're going to make them love us. That sounds like Citizen Kane. We're going to make them love us. Okay, so there we go with that. And so let's see. In the past, in the before, we have, oh, interesting that he comes up again, is the Hanged Man. He's just, see, in the original Hanged Man with the Rider deck, he's in a, he's got the one leg closed. That's very much like, kind of like a variation of the tree pose in yoga, which, it's about reflecting and this sort of thing. Here, he's trying to get into position. He's really just wanting to get him. Oh, I think we got this up right. Okay, so he's just getting in position, but you know what? Gravity is it's just not his. It's not his friend. So he's finding it very difficult, and he got his legs all tied. He got his legs all tied up in the wrong way. So from the beginning, this has been a disaster because neither of them could get themselves in a position where they're going to make any good decisions. So he actually is just kind of hanging from the ankles, not trying to make that yoga pose. So that is not a good sign. So let's see, on the conscious level with the Trumpian relationship, we have, right now, he knows with the Five of Swords in reverse. See, and when they're upright, he's pretty much winning and getting away with it. Of course, at a cost as those people are leaving. But now he's realizing that all of this is catching up to him. So he's off into that's why he can't. His pride won't let him really back off completely. But he knows this is like, they're catching me. I've got to go into damage control and see if I can still have my way. And it's like the art of the deal. It's like maybe it works on Orchard and Delancey Street on the Lower East Side in New York where you haggle with it. But no, this isn't that. So he's kind of into that mode, that outmoded, well, I'll just get outrageous and pull back and get what I really want. Well, that's not working that way. So, on the subconscious level, Oh, he comforts himself by make America great again. We'll just go back to the past. With the muskrat, it's being by having all of those children, and it's some obscene, really obscene, like hundreds or something. It's obscene amount. But in that way, see, this is also maybe a bit, maybe it's more Jungian than Freudian, but it's like going back and saying, well, if I go back to my childhood, I can go back and change the past. And then they have to love us. So we go back to the past that didn't even exist. And that's behind this whole Make America Great Again nonsense. So it's with that, with the Trump thing is like, oh, I'll go back to, let's go back and capture the America of my childhood. And with the muskrat, it's like, let me have 80 million children because maybe they'll have the experience that my pathetic childhood didn't have. Oh, boy. That is a mess. This is like the psychological mess that could be both of their downfalls. But unfortunately, we're paying an awful price for this. Because even if things are set back, which is, oh, maybe we need to go back to the past, like not entirely, but try to revive some of the past, and see, what we can do about fixing that. Well, the damage has been done, and those cargo ships out the Seattle port aren't going to get, and those are the ones that come in from China, from the Far East. So those are not going to get filled up because they decided that they're going to deal with their inner child or something like that. Okay. So in the here and now, oh boy, this is true. They're both okay. Muskrat's up against it. Trump is now up against it with the whole world hating him. And this is the parallel to the muskrat. The muskrat has had to go and escape into his ketamine and maybe his business. So, and this is also the we could see that he was not exactly welcome with open arms at the did you notice, unless somebody in the comments wants to correct me, the muskrat wasn't there. I'm sure the muskrat wasn't at the Pope's funeral. A month ago he would have been, but he wasn't. Interesting. Nobody noticed that. Okay, I might do a quickie. I think I might do a quickie 3-carder on that at the end. Okay, this is also the card in this particular deck about what Russia could do to them. The open window, don't stand near open windows. So that there may be like, okay, Russia might be saying, okay, we've used them as much as we're going to use them. They're getting to be loose cannons, so I'm not saying for entertainment purposes only, but they may just be paranoid about that. I think that's whether Russia does it or doesn't do something like that. I don't know, but I think right now they're both probably paranoid about that. So that may be why he sat down with Zelensky at the funeral. So, okay. So, alrighty. So, coming up in the not too distant future, we have the King of Wands. And I all of a sudden, since I mentioned Zelensky, that I think that what this is saying is that Zelensky is so inspirational and charismatic. He may be getting the help he needs. I know he could use our weaponry, but I've heard that the NATO, EU, they're kind of stepping up. So he could be the inspirational leader of the world, which is pretty much showing both of them up. So he's the big rising star. Not that Ukraine is going to be the most powerful country, but he's the noted leader. That's why he got all of this applause. So then there's this jealousy of an actual true leader. Okay. So in the more distant future with the after tarot, we have got King of Swords in reverse. This is very interesting because upright, he's got he's told the truth. He's stuck the sword in the ground to, I guess, to be grounded. Like, this is the truth and this is sticking. I would say since this is in reverse, it's no matter how hard he tries to avoid the truth, gravity will pull it out of that dirt, and the message will have to come through. Oh, there's a bird here. What is it with these birds here? Oh, maybe that's the canary. This could be the Trump. This is Trump, the liar, the King of Swords in reverse. That as much as he'd like to lie, the truth is going to come out, and there he's got to look at that canary in the coal mine. That he's just kind of giving it a glance. I keep thinking of that thing with that eagle, kind of not too friendly with him either, which I think is going to be his relationship with the canary. So the outcome of all of this for him, and that could be his hope and fear as well. Okay, so the outcome of this is the Five of Wands reversed. So I'm taking this as the inner turmoil card. So I think whatever drug-soaked brain that the muskrat has, he had to do some soul searching. Like, if I don't get out of this, I've got the contracts for now. If I don't get out of this, I'm going to lose everything. And that's the most important. It's money driven, this whole thing with him and the Doge boys. It's a money driven thing. So with Trump, he is going through some inner turmoil because it's not out of self reflection. It's out of how this wasn't supposed to happen. What do I do now? What do I do now? So this is very similar to the muskrat in different ways, but so I have to say that that this is very much that this is, if he doesn't learn the lessons from this, because he's going down the same path. It's kind of like the same plot in a movie, but they set it in, one is set during the Civil War, and then the remake is they put it up to World War II or something like that. It's a, it's sort of like the same story, but with different sets and costumes. So that's what it looks like. So no one asked this, so I'm going to do a 3-carder on why what was it? The muskrat was not at that. I could swear we would have seen him. He would have made his he wasn't there. I mean, even if they had stuck him a few rows back, the cameras would, because of legacy news and all that crap, they would rather put the cameras on him than Don Snorleone snoozing through the funeral until the cardinal tore him a new one in Italian. So let us see. Okay, so with the muskrat. Okay, this should be, so I'm going to shuffle these up. I think it's part of their distancing themselves from each other, but which is kind of obvious, but I want to see if there's something, like maybe why, if there's a deeper thing to this, because they both got the goods on each other. It's kind of like the muskrat can back off, but he can't really throw Fotis under the bus either, because they both got stuff on each other. It's very, and I've been saying this from the beginning, of the year. So let's see, I'll do it like I did with the yesterday videos when I introduced this new kind of a reading. Okay, so, alrighty. Let's see. So now, okay, so in the now of things, we have, and I did shuffle these, going back to the past, maybe the past before they got really involved. Yeah, maybe just so people would like them better if they don't see them together. So in the before tarot, I actually might need some clarifiers on this, but let's see what the before tarot has to say. The moon, okay, the moon, both of their pathological, psychological, subconscious kinds of things. See, it's interesting because in this one, you know, the feral dog and the tame dog, they're like right next to each other at that stream. Looks like that crab is, oh, interesting. Look, instead of the crab, which is the beginning of the food chain, getting out, crawling out, looks like the crab can't get out of that water. It's just, and it looks like the truth of the sun and all the droplets, the Hebrew letter Yud, which is directing all of that energy, because that's what that letter does with the other letters, is that shining the truth, saying you guys are not evolved at all. And the thing is that with a balanced person, this is so interesting, that from childhood you learn to, you have the darks, the shadow side, and you have the tame side, and you integrate them, because one is for survival, the other is to be a better person and intuitive and creative and all that. But they're standing apart. Neither of them ever learned how to do that. So that's kind of what they're grappling with, and the separation of those two animals are also saying it's part of their keeping their distance, but no one's headed towards those pillars of transformation. And what's interesting is that in the rest of the tarot cards, they're kind of close together, because they're always it's almost like they're a doorway, they're a portal, they're kind of like two fortresses. So I would say that they weren't really coming in playing with a very adult deck of cards. So it's kind of like they don't want to be seen together. I think what the whole thing is that they may realize that what drew them together was how much alike they are, but a lot of times that drives people apart too. They see things in themselves through someone else that isn't exactly flattering. Okay, so let's see what the after tarot, what the aftermath of, and what did I say that was? Yeah, that what the possibility of what could be coming. What's the aftermath? Okay. Oh, the victory. 6 of Wands in reverse. Like I said yesterday in yesterday's reading, that I finally noticed that with that, the guy putting the wreath on the female figure, she looks very young. It's saying, I couldn't have done it without you. Thank you very much. But it is not in their nature to do that. That's sharing the spotlight. It's sharing the spotlight, and they don't do that. So there must have been some kind of a deal that was whipped up, like, I'll do this, but you can't do that. Because the one thing is that They don't like, they're both very so narcissistic. They don't like to share the spotlight. It goes back to the humiliating thing with the kid in the Oval Office, and the humiliation of that, and also that Trump is probably upstage Musk. So that's kind of like they weren't. I think he's saying, "Hey, this is my day. I'm going to be with the world leaders. You do what you're going to do. You've had the spotlight, and if you don't want me to spill the beans about whatever you did with the election, yada yada yada." So that tells. So they don't give credit for their victories, and this is not a victory. It's just not a victory. So I want to I have to feel like I have to put one in conclusion. So in conclusion of this is, you got the Four of Cups in reverse. They're kind of running out of options here, and but they're failing to see the obvious. The obvious, like instead of working on why do people don't like us and how are we harming the people, they're doing it for ego's sake. That's the whole thing. That it comes down to the ego. So in this whole thing is, yes, he definitely is the canary in the coal mine, which is a very his kind of being for. I think I have to give the muskrat enough credit for saying, I didn't get out of the Tesla mess when the getting was good, but as far as this regime goes, I better really get out while the getting is good. I'm hated. Well, I don't know if he realizes. The left hates me enough. That's what his excuse. I don't need any more of that. If I go back to my business, they'll either forget about me or they'll love me again for my electric car. I guess that's his delusion. But the delusion of the Trumpian mindset is that he's not going to take any of this as a big warning. And it is, but he's not going to. So on that interesting note, I think this will be up on Tuesday in the afternoon. And the thing didn't stop. Yay, so I don't have to do 2 parts. Okay, so I wish you all good night, good afternoon, or good morning, wherever you are in whatever time zone. So I will be checking off for now. Bye.